You are listening to Nerd Best Friends, a podcast that covers the nerdy conversations you're already having, or wish you could. It's the nerdiest thing you'll do this week.
This is Analese.
This is Rob.
And we are your Nerd Best Friends.
There are so many nerd things coming up. I love these kinds of episodes where we just get to nerd out on all the fun things that we are excited about.
Welcome to Nerd Best Friends, the podcast where we talk comics, D&D, pop culture, cosplay, basically all the stuff that makes you go, here's my people. Follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a fellow nerd. Help us grow the nerd herd. Now strap in, roll for initiative, and let's get nerdy. This is episode 93, Rob, and I love being here with my nerd best friend to get nerdy about all the things.
Absolutely. I was taking a look and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many fun things I'm looking forward to in the next couple months as we really are, racing towards mid-year already and thinking about like what's all the great fun stuff that I'm going to do. And there's never an end to all of the projects and nerd stuff coming up.
There's never been a better time to be a nerd. In 2026, there's a lot coming. But before we get there, we've got some nerd mail.
Nerd mail.
All right, so I want to start with saying thank you to Brick, who's been listening and actively commenting on our Spotify and letting us know how much he's enjoying our episodes. Brick, particularly, we applaud you for now looking into the Daredevil comics, since you got into it from the show that was previously on Netflix and now can be found on Disney Plus with a new season that's just come out, right, Rob?
Yeah, in fact, I'm halfway through Daredevil Born Again, and I know that there's another one coming up, and it is fantastic. But I really love that comment. It does my nerd heart happy because I always think that, these Marvel shows that come out, especially like the really good ones, there's a lot there for people who love those characters, right? Like I've read a bunch of Daredevil comic books. I see the Daredevil show. I'm like, oh, what a cool take on that. Oh, that's that guy. They did that storyline on this episode, especially. I feel like sometimes I get cynical and there's people that like, oh yeah, I like Daredevil. I watch the show. And I'm like, but is that real Daredevil? But to see that somebody's like, I watched the show, it was really cool, so I went back and now I'm reading Daredevil comics and liking that too. I'm like, oh, that's the dream. That's perfect. Like there was something that was very mainstream and popular that got somebody into the more like niche nerdy thing that not as many people are into. So I think that's really cool. I love it.
And it's almost the premise of those episodes for us. It's like read first, watch first, read and watch, read then watch then read. So really excited to hear that some of our listeners are following that same path.
I also have comments from our number one active comic book nerd, Ishmael. Ish literally told me he was revoking my nerd card because of a mistake that I made. And I will say, like, I didn't look it up. Anyway, I always make the joke about Sue Dibney's head being in the refrigerator. And we were talking about this comic book and I was like, yeah, like when Sue Dibney's head was in the refrigerator in Another the Nail, which I know it wasn't in. So there was a DC event and it was called The Nail and like nail in the coffin, like this kind of thing. And I could not remember what it talked about. But then they did it again and they called it Another Nail, which is stupid. And so I always call it Another the Nail. And anyway, I just think that that's a funny title for a crossover. So whenever I can't think of what the storyline was, I say Another the Nail. And he's like, it was Final Crisis, Rob. I can't believe you got the thing wrong. And the blah, 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 blah. You're not a real comic book fan. I was like, whoa. Apparently Sue Dibney's head in the refrigerator was very important to Ishmael.
Whoa. Calm down, Ishmael.
No, calm up. He also sent in some feedback from some of our other episodes. I have
the
a
Alias
letter here.
episode, right?
Oh, is that what it was from? Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So from the Alias episode, he said, Alias and Garth Ennis's The Punisher blew my mind as to what traditional superhero comics could look like. I had read Sandman and Hellblazer, but always thought of them as separate from the Batman and like Spider-Man comics. I think Alias is a product of its time, which we talked about on the episode,
Right.
and a welcome change to what was out there then. For that reason, I appreciate the series. So that's interesting because he says a welcomed change, which I guess, I mean, it was definitely different. I still am not convinced that it's welcome or needed. I don't know. Maybe don't appreciate it because it's been there for so long now. But I would, like, if you're going to give me a really good mainstream Spider-Man story in the 616 universe, or this dark, gritty, this one's got all the swears and blood in it, you know, Max title comic, I'm going to choose the good Spider-Man comic. Like, I don't need the swears and the, like, this isn't your dad's comic book, kid, kind of thing. But maybe I can feel that way because they both exist and I've read them both. If the other, if that like dark, gritty, sweary one had never existed, maybe it would be a welcome change. Like, I guess it's good that both things exist.
Yeah, and I think I like his comment really particular to when it was released. Appreciating the series when it was released at a time where there wasn't a lot of that dark and gritty. I mean, we get dark and gritty movies that are based off of comic books, but we don't necessarily get comic books that are that dark and gritty. So I think Ismail's really talking about placing it in the time it was released and how it was a welcome change at that time. But I think he's also acknowledging what we acknowledge is like reading it from this lens 20 years later is a little bit different.
I guess like the dark and gritty stuff existed, but it was on those other publishers, right? It was like, well, you got to go to an IDW or you got to go to an Image or you got to go someplace else to get that kind of story. But to put this one, and it's very much like, no, this is Marvel Universe. The Avengers are in this book with
Right.
Jessica Jones running around. I guess that is different. That is unique and a successful idea, I suppose.
And if you haven't listened to that episode, nerds, go back and listen to our Jessica Jones read or watch first, and you'll know more what we're talking about. And maybe you'll decide whether to watch it or read it. Then write in. So be more like Ish and send in your deep thoughts, nerd questions, and talk nerdy to me subjects that you'd like us to cover by sliding into our DMs or send those topics. Rob, let's get nerdy.
Let's just get nerdy.
We're getting nerdy. So we went with
talk about some nerd stuff.
3 things, maybe a little bit more, but 3 things that you're really looking forward to in the near future. We'll say maybe through mid-year of this year. I don't know if any of yours are supposed to be after that, but first half of 2026, what's a nerdy thing that you're looking forward to?
So something that happened early this year is an announcement from the whole Star Wars Studios thing. And that is that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving, like she's finally retiring. Now, Kathleen Kennedy, for you kids out there, isn't just the person who has been leading Star Wars for the last 10 years. She's been involved in Star Wars forever. She became in charge of everything Star Wars around the time the new sequels came out, right? The last three movies. And those movies are fine. Everyone can say for every movie, I wish it'd been a little bit better. I don't know that it was great, but anytime you're going to have something that big with that much hype and that much, expectation behind it, you're going to have controversy. And I think a lot of fans, especially the maybe newer fans, lay a lot of the failures or a lot of the things they didn't like about those movies at the feet of Kathleen Kennedy because she ran the thing. But let's not forget, everything you love about Star Wars is from Kathleen Kennedy in the 70s and 80s, right? She was part of that editing team, directing team, direction, all of that kind of stuff. Kathleen Kennedy has been there with George Lucas from the beginning, making Star Wars awesome. And so she has retired. Good for her. She did great. And what I'm very excited about is they've now turned that over to Dave Filoni, who is, in my opinion, the greatest Star Wars fan of all times. When I see Dave Filoni work like Star Wars Rebels and The Mandalorian, I'm just blown away. This guy and me have the same idea of how cool Star Wars can be. And so I'm very excited about that. I'm really hoping, I haven't seen anything about it, but if they can get, what's his name, Jon Favreau to be part of some of this stuff that's coming up like he was with Mandalorian and that direction with Dave Filoni, I'm very much excited about the next kind of thing that Star Wars has to offer. So specifically, we're getting a couple things coming up. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which I really hope that's the actual title. And it's just The Mandalorian and Grogu going on adventures, having fun.
It's telling you exactly what that movie is about.
Exactly. Here's what it is on the tin. And then we are also getting Ahsoka, the Ahsoka Tano show that came out. I think I was just talking about this season. Like, go back and watch Ahsoka. It's really dope. There's a season 2 coming out for that as well. So I think there's some changeover at Star Wars. I think it's nice that they've kind of taken a little bit of a break and thought through the next phases and gotten things in order. And yeah, Dave Filoni, man, I'm excited about what's coming next this year for Star Wars.
That's awesome.
All right. What's the first thing on your list?
This should be no surprise. I think there's definitely a theme in things that I'm looking forward to all the time, but the Kickstarter has opened for Final Girl Series 4. And so they did something interesting this time around, not knowing where things were going, a year and a half, 2 years ago with tariffs and all those things.
Right.
And Writer Games decided that they would release the vignettes for Series 4 one at a time. So four of the 5 vignettes in Series 4, you could go into your friendly local game store and pick up if they have it. What they don't have is the minis and all the extras.
That was interesting.
That you get.
So we kept looking when we were having our nerd adventures. We'd be like, oh, look at this. It's that new vignette. But it doesn't have the minis.
Right. And my only reason to buy the minis now, because it's extra. So you can buy Final Girl and just use the little meeples that are in there. They have one that's a different color for the Final Girl. They have one that's a different color and size for the bad guy. And then little ones for all the victims or the people. So you can play Final Girl without the minis. You can play it without the big deluxe box set. But since the onset, no, because the minis are so cool.
Yeah.
Since the onset, I have always bought the big season deluxe set. So the only reason to buy them early when we were in Santa Clara and looking at all those nerd stores was to get the minis and prime them and start painting them. But of course, they didn't have, the minis aren't ready. It's just for those who want to go and play the games. And there's plenty of people who on the Facebook group I'm in talking about how good the Series 4, the games are. And they did the thing I wanted. One of them is based off of Scream. So I was like, do I just buy that one vignette? But all 4 of them look really cool. And they have a surprise one. So they did this campaign a little different. You could buy them. And so that when the Kickstarter happened, you can choose your own adventure. If you've already purchased the vignettes, you can buy the deluxe set without the vignettes because you already have them.
Okay.
Right. So they did it so that you can piecemeal whatever you want out of it. Or if you didn't buy any of them, you just get the whole thing. I was like, I'm going to get the whole thing. I've already pledged. I'm getting the whole thing again. And they have a surprise vignette. So then it comes with all the minis and all the extras and the big deluxe box that stores it all in and everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited that it's happening. Of course, it will be not as long of a time now before it's delivered because they already have the 4 vignettes made. Point. Right? So now it's just getting the minis printed and the deluxe box and all that stuff, which I think they were already in process of making all of these things. So the delivery date's going to be much sooner than a year and a half. So I'm excited. Final Girl 4. I'm playing 3 like mad now that they're all painted and just gonna... I don't know when this is going to stop. I don't know if I'm going to keep going. When I talked about this the last time about whether or not I'd get Series 4 was contingent on them doing the Scream one, which they did.
Right. So, okay. Because that's what I was going to ask. Because you had been waffling back and forth. You're like, well, if they do like the Scream Ghostface, maybe. But that was it. That was your selling point. Now, what else is in there? Is that it? You're like, but it didn't matter. If that came, then that's what I'm going to get. Or are there other cool stuff that people would recognize?
So another good one that's getting good reviews on the Facebook group is called Bad Times at Buddyland. So it's after the 5 Nights at Freddy's. So the minis for that one look really cool.
That. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
And people really love that vignette. People are talking about how good it is. There's one called A Rotten Harvest, which I actually picked up in 2 of the game stores that we went to. It's got some demonic pumpkin called Grimlash that looks really good as well. Like I can't wait to paint that one because it's a jack-o'-lantern but like on fire. His head's on fire and stuff. So that's gonna be really cool to paint. And then they have one called The Demon in the Shadows, which I've not heard as much about, but it is some probably poltergeist is what it looks like on the images. And then there's a surprise one that we don't know yet. It just says coming soon. So
all right.
There are 3 really good ones. Yeah, it's got the Scream one. One of those 3 is the Scream one. So, and people are saying that one's really good as well. The Scream one, they made interesting because they have that one happening at a convention. So they have a minifigs of their previous series bad guys as victims who are cosplaying those people at Yeah, it's like
It's
this
a hat
whole
on a hat
meta.
on a hat.
Right. I mean, so good. So like here I am painting Hans, a smaller version of Hans from series 1. I'm going to repaint him because he's one of the victims in this. Someone's cosplaying Hans. Like, I mean, it's cool. I can't wait to have that in my hands. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what like they look like, because it's not just a reprint of the Hans miniature. It's a new sculpt of somebody in that costume, and they have to like make it very obvious that it's a person in a costume. So that's really cool.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And both the Bad Times at Buddyland and the Mort, the Scream one, they're getting good reviews on the Facebook page, people who are playing it. So I'm looking forward.
Okay.
Kickstarter's open. That's going to be in my hand soon, and more painting to be had. All right. So, Rob, what's another thing? We each picked 3. So what's the second thing that you are looking forward to this year?
Okay, so this is interesting, and it's kind of backwards, but
okay,
I was looking into like, okay, well, what's coming up in Dungeons and Dragons? Like, what's our next big campaign? What's the next adventure and stuff? And so in 2026, they put out, or I guess at the end of 2025, they put out the Forgotten Realms guides, which is like a 2-book companion, one player facing, one dungeon master facing, of like adventures in the Forgotten Realms and cool stuff like that. I think there was also an Eberron book that came out right around like the holidays, that big shopping time. It's like, okay, so like what's next? Like we've got this new edition of the 2024 rules, or 6th edition. Like, is there like a big adventure book coming? Is like, what's the next thing? And I'm looking, and there's nothing. There's nothing on the calendar.
They just created new rules, and that's it.
Everything I look at is like, oh, like look forward to an announcement at Gen Con. And I'm like, Gen Con's in August. Like, there's no releases on the calendar, which to me is totally fine, because we have so much stuff to play through still. A little bit of a break, a little bit of a catch up, and like no FOMO of like, oh my God, if I could just finish this campaign because I really want to get to the next campaign. And do I start a new campaign? It's like, no, like we've got a good like chunk. We've got another year to wrap up and keep going with the stuff that we've already got planned out, and the stuff that we're already doing, which is, for everything that I'm doing, is still 5th edition big giant modules. And maybe that's part of it. Like, I don't know what's going on over there. I know they had a huge changeover in like their creative team and their management and all this kind of stuff, but it's pretty quiet right now as they like, I guess, reset and make their next plans. But yeah, we're still playing through Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostbane. We're still playing through Tomb of Annihilation. We're still playing through Wild Beyond the Witchlight. I still have plans to do Vecna Rising,
the Vecna one, yeah.
Out of the Abyss again, and stuff like those. 5th edition like really nailed it with some really good like long lasting adventure campaigns, and they take a while. They take years to get through. If you're playing, we played a lot. We probably play 15, 20 times a year, and it still takes years to get through these adventures. So I'm actually in sort of this opposite world. What are you looking forward to? I'm looking forward to a little bit of calm in the Dungeons and Dragons world, so we can get caught up and ready for that next thing. But that also then, of course, makes it very interesting to see what they do announce come end of August at Gen Con and during the summer, all those convention seasons, and they start laying out their next plan. Like, what is going to be that next book? And of course, I'm going to have it. We're going to have to play it.
Right. Do you think it's been a misstep on their end? Because there's never been a better time to get into Dungeons and Dragons since this 5th season of Stranger Things. On our threads is full of people saying, I've never played before. I'm in my 50s. I want to play. I've never played before. My kids want to get into. It's full of people getting into the hobby. Do you think that's a misstep? Do you think that's on purpose? Because now there's enough out there for them to get started without getting overwhelmed.
I think I do. I think it's a mistake. I think that there's been some things that I don't understand. And, maybe there's more out there, but I don't feel like there is. I know that Dungeons and Dragons is a very small part of Hasbro as a large conglomerate.
Sure.
Even their, sort of section of Hasbro, which is Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons is very small compared to the profits and excitability that Magic the Gathering has, right? They share space with that as well. So I know Dungeons and Dragons is one of those things where it's like everybody loves it, and it's got that iconic name. It's very recognizable, but I don't think it's a profit maker. I feel like it just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because it's this weird catch. Like, you can play Dungeons and Dragons for free. If you they give you the basic rules, which is great. You can make a character on a sheet of lined paper in, your high school math class, and it's just imagination. You use the rules and you use what they give you. You can play forever and have tons of fun and not be spending money at all. I think a lot of us will be like, oh yeah, I got to buy every book. I got to do this because we just want to support the game and things like that. But ever since they announced that they were coming out with the new edition and the new rules for the 50th anniversary in 2024, and that book didn't come out till December of 2024.
Right.
And then they slow rolled. Then it was like, because there's always, no matter what edition, you got your 3 core books, your player's manual, your dungeon master's manual, and your monster manual. Those have to be set like to go through all of 2024. Oh, 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. We're doing this, we're doing that. And not have a release and not have a year full of people like, oh, this is what's cool about the new characters. This is what's cool about new monsters. None of that. It happened at the very, very end. Then 25, they slow rolled some stuff. And now here we are, 26. There's nothing on the calendar. There's no big, crazy, cool adventure with all your friends. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on over there. It seems
it's so weird.
Poorly planned.
Yeah. And I mean, they did some licensed things, right? I'll show something that I bought, but I don't see these flying off the shelves because someone who doesn't know about D&D doesn't kind of know how cool it is. But there was a little mystery bag that I bought. I don't know. It was $15, less than $20. It was Stranger Things themed with licensed D&D. And it came with this cool bag, little dice bag that says Hellfire Club.
Oh, right on.
Right. And then it came with a D20, which is going to be a little hard to see, but it's got a little skateboard on the inside, like Max rides the skateboard. And then the Nat 20, let's see if I can find the Nat 20 symbol. And of course, it's hard to find. It's got a little skateboard on it. It might be kind of hard to see. Let me see. Hard to see, but the Nat 20 is a skateboard. And then it came with a little coin that has the Mind Flayer on one side, and it's got Egos on the other side. They did that kind of stuff when the season 5 of Stranger Things was released, but a non-D&D player might pick that up and not quite be excited about that because
you're picking that up because you're a Stranger Things fan, not because you want it to play in your D&D game, right?
Right.
I don't know what was going on too, like the Baldur's Gate video game.
Yeah.
Huge. Exploded. Right. Awesome. It is very faithful to the 5th edition rules, characters, adventures, everything there. And it came out at the same time we're launching an all new set of rules and books. And so there's kind of a trick there. Oh, did you really love this game? Well, you can buy our brand new edition of it. It changes a lot of stuff from that game.
It's different than what you played that you love.
Which is kind of weird. It's not that different, but you know what I mean? Like, that seems weird in a way. There's been great things like we're coming up on springtime. They're going to start that Dungeons and Dragons experience at Universal Studios that you guys went to last year. Like, I saw an announcement of that's back. And, there's cool stuff. Like, there's stuff going on. I know that, like, they are producing their own live play, very highly produced, YouTube channel kind of thing, like a Critical Role, but it's official D&D, and a lot of the people that are playing in that are like voice characters from the video game that was very popular and things. Stuff is happening to keep D&D in the forefront of people's mind, except not actually selling anything for the game.
Yeah.
Which is
strange.
Which is weird. But again, me personally, Rob, I'm cool with that because I have plenty of stuff that I need to get through.
Circling back, what you're excited about is the ability to get through that stuff without having to worry about what's next.
Yes. Although I will say, come August, when we're talking again, I'm going to be excited about what's coming next for Dungeons and Dragons.
It sounds like we might need to get to Gen Con. Just saying. We'll talk about that off podcast. It's always such a bad time of the year. It's always such a bad time of the year.
Honestly, that's the thing. The only reason I have not been to a Gen Con yet is it's usually the first week of school. And
or
I
right
work
before
for a school district. It's
like our first week back with our staff.
Right. It's just, that's rough, real rough.
Well, the second thing that I have on my list that I'm looking forward to is, we kind of have some of these names of people who are being entrusted to do adaptations. You mentioned a couple of them with the Star Wars. And in this case, we have Mike Flanagan, who has been working a lot of Stephen King adaptations. So he was just responsible for The Long Walk that we did an episode on earlier this season. He has also rewritten a new TV series adaptation of Carrie. And I'm interested in the fact that it's a TV series because I wonder if it's going to tell more of the book story than the movie does. I'm nervous because anything other than Sissy Spacek from the 70s has not been very good, but people trust Mike Flanagan. He's doing a good job with adaptations lately. So I am looking forward to the release of the series Carrie by Mike Flanagan. We'll see what he does with it.
So many people say, like, with these long books, there's a lot of things working, right? It used to be movies was where it's at. Movies is everything. If you could get a movie deal, that was the biggest, craziest thing. But there's a whole machine around movies and the movie industry that has only gotten more and more off the rails, like we were talking about when we guested on that podcast a few weeks ago.
The Geek Speak Show, yes.
When we guested on the Geek Show, like talking about like that whole machine and how things keep getting rewritten and audience, interpretations and blah, 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 blah. But now that we're in this, for the last 10 years, this golden age of television on streaming services and things, people are saying like, no, to do a really good adaptation, you need to like do that development. You need to see the full plot. Like give it 10 episodes of a mini series to really flesh out and tell the story.
Well, the funny thing is Carrie's not that book. Carrie's not a thick boy like It or The Stand, right? It is not a really thick book. And it's written, and I know we've mentioned this before, it's written a little bit like Bram Stoker's Dracula, where it's like newspaper clippings and kind of this, that, and the other. And it's all over the place to unravel the story. So I'm interested to see what he does with it. There is more to the story than the movies show. Obviously, a movie's going to have to slim down, and that'll be interesting. But again, like Sissy Spacek is just so iconic in her portrayal of Carrie that it's going to have to be really, really good to be impressive. But I am looking forward to it based on what he's done with some of other Stephen King's work as of late. The Running Man came out and The Long Walk came out, and those were handled very, very well. So
did you see The Running Man?
I did not see the new one, but the reviews were good. It didn't take off, and it wasn't right. We have this little teeny movie theater here in Ukiah. Things are here for like a week and then they're gone. So I missed that window, but I will watch it when it comes across streaming services.
Okay, make sure that you put that on one of your dirtiest things because I'm familiar with that one from being a junior high kid and watching the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with my buddies. So which is goofy.
It's a goofy version of it from what I understand.
Over the top, silly, goofy, bright colors. Like, just absolutely crazy. There's a dude named Sub-Zero who runs around in hockey pads and cuts people's head off with their goalie stick that has a blade on it. It's absolutely wild.
Yes. We'll see what this one with Glenn Powell, we'll see how good that one is. I did rewatch The Long Walk on my flight to Cancun, and I liked it even better the second time through. I picked up some nuances that I didn't see the first time through. So like he did a good job with those. We'll see what Carrie comes up with, but I'm looking forward to it. We each got one more thing I think there's more things that we're psyched about, but we're keeping it to 3 things. What's the third thing on your list?
So the third thing on mine is, again, a little anti-climactic. I have been on a pretty focused journey lately of not bringing a lot of new things into this house as far as my board games and miniatures and Kickstarters. So very easy to say in February. But I'm not planning on buying any more games or bringing any big miniature boxes and Kickstarters, especially into the house, because there is so much amazing stuff that we could play. Like these next few months are going to be unprecedented for playing games at Casa de Cooper. We have, of course, my favorite tabletop skirmish game / board game hybrid, which is Mythic Battles. And we now have 3 gigantic sets of Mythic Battles, from Pantheon to Ragnarok to now Isfet, which is the ancient Egypt one that we're all, we're starting to airbrush and paint and get ready for that. So that game is going to be on the table a ton. It's going to be super fun to have not only play in the different genres, but bring the different genres to all play together. And
because you can mix and match.
You can mix and match. The rule set is the same. So we're going to have the Greek gods and heroes versus like the Vikings and Norse gods versus ancient Egypt and undead Anubis and stuff. all coming together. Very excited about that. We talked about a few weeks ago, I think we talked about Space Weirdos and how I'm using Space Weirdos as Star Wars game, basically. My gosh, just absolutely having such a blast plowing through my backlog of Star Wars minis that have just been sitting forever. Stormtroopers, real big pain in the ass. So hard to paint. Oh my gosh, they're white, but you got to do some kind of shading to them so they don't just look white. And then they've got like all these like little tiny pinstripes of black all over them, which of course you mess up and get a big black splooge on top of the white. And then you're trying to paint that, but white is all awful, terrible.
You would think like airbrushing them would be easy enough, but then you're right. But
you can't airbrush like the little tiny eyes and the little tiny stripes and the little tiny elbows and like all that stuff. Like it's just drive me crazy. But I'm having a lot of fun painting stuff, except for stupid stormtroopers, which I hate. I'm having a lot of fun painting up Star Wars for that. There's a companion game to that, which is Sword Weirdos, right? There's Space Weirdos, and then they did a fantasy version, which is Sword Weirdos.
Okay.
And so I'm having a blast with that. Like I have this whole plan to develop a game system for that using some 3D printed miniatures and all this kind of stuff. And it's never been a better time to play in-person games at Casa de Cooper. And then I keep going back to, like, I kind of promised myself that after last year's big certification program and stuff that I did, that I needed to get back to in-person D&D and run a game a few times a year. And we're already halfway through the first quarter and haven't gotten on that. So I'm looking forward to trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that as well. But yeah, as far as what am I looking forward to, number one thing is in-person miniatures on the table games here at home or wherever will take me.
There you go.
All right. What is your big thing coming up?
Well, before I get to that, I will say I also made a pledge in my 26 for 2026 of like not bringing new things in. I'm not buying games. The only Kickstarter I'm allowing myself is the Final Girl 4, and that's it. Nothing else. I like don't even go to Kickstarter anymore. Like I don't want to get caught in something cool that I might see, but like no more games. Yeah. So I'm kind of on that same vein. Like I want to play what we have here. In fact, I have a really lovely trip I'm looking forward to with Sarah during spring break. We're going to go to, it's called Auto Camp, and they have some kind of all over the world, but they are campsites with Airstreams. So you get your own private little area with an Airstream and your own private little fire pit and stuff like that. And so my district negotiated a raise for the teachers, which means us as management also get a raise. So we're getting some retro pay raise. And I'm like, let's do something fun with some of that. We'll be responsible with the rest. But rather than going out and buying something, we're going to go and spend a handful of nights in this Airstream at this campground in the redwoods and sequoias. And it looks really beautiful. It's Auto Camp Sonoma. And why did I bring that up? I brought that up because we talked about like we're going to bring some of the games that Sarah has bought with the intention. She's got them for me. Like we have Dungeon Mayhem and we have a couple of like 7 Dragons that we never take out. Some of the games that we already have, we're going to take a little box of games to play while we're there hanging out in the redwoods.
I love that.
That's also kind of on my list, but it's not on this list. On this list, the last thing I have has to do with something happening in just a few weeks from now, and it is Scream 7. And I am so looking forward to it. So what's different about Scream 7 this time?
There's 7 of them now.
There's 7 of them now. This one, Sidney Prescott is back. And they've brought back a whole bunch of actors who play characters who were either killed or maybe not killed. I think they're all dead. I don't think they're bringing anyone back from the dead. I'd be really disappointed if that's the case. They brought Kevin Williamson back, who worked alongside Wes Craven for Scream 1 and 2 30 years ago. So they're doing some sort of bringing it back to the beginning. And there's a lot, like I'm trying to not read rumors because I don't want to like, oh, that's a really cool idea. I hope they do that. And then it not happen and get all disappointed. But I'm looking forward. Scream 7, February 27th.
Do you? My bet is Rob Cooper called shot. My bet is all those it's flashbacks and they're using the de-aging technology that is so prevalent in places.
I think so too. I think they're going to go back and show and tell parts of the story fitting in the crevices of what we know and create like they do with Star Wars. That's what I'm thinking, right? Rogue One is a movie about in between the crevices. I think within this movie, they're going to fill some of those holes of what we don't know and use these actors with that technology. That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. I don't think
what would be cooler is
cooler?
if instead all those people were hanging out in some kind of like crazy purgatory hell that people go to when Ghostface Killer kills them, and there's like this whole alternate story thing like Lost. That would be better.
That would be super crazy.
But
Because some of the people that they've brought back were the Ghostface, right? And some of them, especially the ones they're bringing back, were killed by Sidney Prescott. They were killed by Neve Campbell's character. So now what does that all mean? It's a thing. They've done a decent job continuing and tying in, but the last two movies had kind of weak tie-ins. And this one's supposed to root back. The trailer that's out right now is saying, oh, where you live now, Sydney, looks exactly like where we grew up. So they're doing some sort of tie-in to someone who was around from the OG. So
what's your plan? This is a must-see for you. Are we going to a special theater? Are we going out of town to a bespoke experience? What's going to happen?
It might just be the local theater here that does it's a good theater. It's not like when we were on Geek Speak show, they were saying how one of them were saying how he doesn't have a good theater to go watch movies. I have a good theater to go watch movies. But because we're doing that trip in March during spring break, we might not do a special theater out of it at all. It might just be go watch it. And during the day. It's going to be the matinee performance.
Speaking of movies, we kind of have this last section to just go through, oh my gosh, look at all these nerd pop culture movies that are coming out this year.
So much. And let's start with, I know you've seen the trailer. I know you've seen the trailer for Masters of the Universe.
You know I have. Are you kidding me? This to me came out of nowhere. Like I was watching a hockey game or something and it was like, boom, here's Masters of the Universe is happening and it looks just absolutely wild. Yeah, what is happening?
Skeletor looks amazing.
They all do. Everything in that thing looks amazing. Yeah. I did not know that we needed or wanted a Masters of the Universe movie, but everything that I've seen visually makes me very excited because if you remember the last time we had a Masters of the Universe movie, it was that Dolph Lundgren thing that was just
awful.
It had nothing to do with any, hey, you know all that stuff you love about He-Man, kids? It's not here. Like that was
we made something else.
Yeah, we made something else and we called it He-Man to try to steal your dollars. Like, no, this is like the tiger is green and it has yellow stripes. He-Man is there and he's wearing his pink shirt and he's got the sword. And Skeletor is looking real Skeletor-y and stuff. Yeah, yes, he even had the awful haircut.
Yes.
Where I'm going to see this movie because it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be cool. Yeah.
And it's gonna be bad. But here's the thing that I'm like, ooh, what I really don't like is there was a lot of scenes of that trailer where they're on planet Earth. When you see Beastman or whatever, he's like jumping on a police car. And I'm like, that is the last thing I want. Like that's something that never happened in the cartoons, right? The cartoons take place on Eternia, the land of He-Man. Like it's this special place where magic and science technology work together in this crazy alien world. And to me, that's what I want to see. I want to see the alien world and the alien flora and fauna and like all of that cool stuff. Nobody ever asked for He-Man to be on Earth running around San Francisco or whatever.
Okay, but here's
I don't know why that's a thing. That's what they did in the last movie too. The stupid Dolph Lundgren movie is like, they're all like, oh, we got to take over Earth.
They're in New York.
Yeah, like why? Nobody wants that. Ever.
Here's the thing. I agree with you 100%. However, I saw a meme that made me laugh and think, okay, this is true. So it was a little like meme or whatever that said, I did not grow up in the 80s. I'm interested in the Masters of the Universe. What season of the show should I be looking up? And the answer was none. The show is actually not great. The cartoon, we have like a romantic idea about it because we grew up watching our Saturday morning cartoons where He-Man and She-Ra and, Jem, but the He-Man cartoon itself is not very good. So I wonder if they're trying to zhuzh it up by having it accidentally come into, because it looks like He-Man himself is like lost. He's on planet Earth and he's lost is what it looks like to me.
I went on and watched the extended trailer online because
did you? Okay.
So, and this is true. This is something in the lore is for whatever reason, and again, for no reason, Prince Adam's mother is an Earthling. That was always a thing. It's like, there's always been some tie where it was like, we have to have some way to relate to the audience. So we have like this idea that Prince Adam is like half Earth human or whatever, because that's where his mom from. So for in this movie, whatever has happened, like it sounds like it's post-apocalyptic Skeletor or whatever. And Prince Adam's mom snuck him off world and put him back on Earth where she was from, so he would be safe. And so now he's like something, they're chasing him down, or for some other reason Eternia is like bleeding through into our world, and he has to like realize himself, wait a minute, I'm this mythical hero from that other world, and now I've got to go back there. And of course that's like a very easy cheat for the hero to go through and be like, I'm going to ask questions about this new planet that I'm on so the audience can learn about it, kind of thing. Like easy storytelling.
I got you.
Other than like, just let's be an Eternia. Don't underestimate your audience. We can catch up. It's not that hard.
You're right.
Figure it
You're
out.
right.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that Earth part is like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and then the next hour and a half is alien world, cool space magic battles.
Or at least the end of Act 1 is him getting off Earth.
Yes, at the very most.
Right.
30-minute Act 1, because nobody needs He-Man running around the city.
On Earth.
Like, we need He-Man in like a flying jet bike with purple and blue trees and lightning bolts coming out of his sword and stuff like that.
All right. Other movies that we're looking forward to.
Avengers Doomsday. We talked about that on the Geek Speak podcast. Like, that's going to be a thing. Everybody's going to be talking about it. We're going to have to see what happens. I am slowly starting to work through the giant list of like, watch these movies before Doomsday, and just kind of putting them on while I'm like painting miniatures and doing other stuff just to do it because I'm a nerd and I think that that's fun. But that's going to be a whole thing. Everybody's going to be talking about Doomsday. No, did you see this guy? Did you see that guy?
When we were on Geek Speak show, we talked about how disappointed we were that Hawkeye didn't continue. And they actually did announce for sure that Haley Steinfeld is not coming back as Hawkeye, which is such a mistake. Like, I know she's pregnant right now, right? She got married to Josh Allen, and now they're having babies and stuff like that. But like, man, that was such a good series, and she did such a good job. It's just
that is a real bummer, because that level of that kind of like non-superhero, really cool thing, one, I think belongs in the Avengers because there's always been a character like that. But two, it also has like this great bridge to the other heroes that they're, bringing back on the series, like Daredevil and Punisher and like those kinds of things. Like, that Hawkeye character can live in both worlds, and I think it's really too bad. It's really too bad.
Yeah. But that being said, you're right. Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday is going to be a thing. Of course.
And then I'll do this one because I know we're going to nerd about the next one.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary is a movie to keep your eye out on, because that is going to be like a really, I hope, smart, hard science fiction story. Is based on another book by Andy Weir, who did The Martian, of course, with Matt Damon eating his poop potatoes on Mars. This is another survival, lost in space type thing that I think is getting a lot of buzz as far as like the sci-fi audience and like those books. It is one of those things that I know is going to be that question. Do I read the book first or watch the movie first? I think I want to read the book first, because like, I find fun in seeing how they adapt things rather than like, I don't know. I haven't read the book yet, but everybody says like, oh no, it's great. Just like The Martian was another one that I read the book, and I love the book and the movie. I think this is going to be a big one too. So don't sleep on Project Hail Mary. That's going to be really great.
Right on. Well, I have two more on here just that I know we're looking forward to. The first one, obviously, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I imagine when that comes out this summer, we'll do another episode about it. Go watch it.
Okay, so you noticed they keep putting out more trailers for Supergirl. This latest trailer that they put out very prominently features the character Lobo, which kind of like, you kind of see him like skidding a motorcycle in that first trailer, but this one shows a little bit more. It's Jason Momoa as Lobo, which is a perfect casting. Dude just looks like Lobo in real life. They just put a little gray blue makeup on him and he's there. But also, isn't it weird that he's Aquaman?
I mean, we could say the same thing that RDJ is Doomsday and he's also Iron Man. Like, if it's perfect casting, it's perfect casting.
I guess so. It's just,
he's also Aquaman. He's also, oh no, I'm thinking the wrong. I was thinking the Rock. I was going to say he's Moana, but no, that's not. That's the Rock.
No, the Rock is Shazam. Captain Marvel.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. I have not seen this newer trailer that you are referring to, so I will do that after we're recording. But yeah,
But it also speaks to, like, they're making a big deal, like, Jason Momoa's back, but this time he's Lobo. And Lobo's like a very interesting, and it speaks to that idea, like we talked about, like, it's going to be this space opera, this space romp where she's going to be going to all these cool planets and stuff, which I love. Right. But, like, Lobo ain't in that book. So you can tell.
True.
You're going to get what you want. It's obviously going to be a very different story as far as, like, punching it up with, like, some humor and some different characters and things that are going to appear.
Well, I think just strengthening her reasons and rationale and strengthening the thing that she's out there doing. But we'll see, right? Like, I mean, he did the same thing with the Superman film, right? It was based off of a comic book, but wasn't exactly page for page true to form. He brought in characters that you were surprised to see. So it sounds like they're doing kind of the same thing here.
Yeah.
And then we have, of course, your favorite, Spider-Man. Yes. Brand New Day's coming out this year.
I have not seen a lot for this movie, but I'm very excited based on where they ended the last one, which was like back to, it was an interesting choice when they introduced Spider-Man into the Marvel universe to have him so tied to the Iron Man character and the Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark character, and like having all the tech and all of this and all of that, rather than what we traditionally see in Spider-Man, which is like that very difficult first year or two of him trying to figure out what he's doing and how things work. Which, again, another shout out to that Spider-Man show on Disney Plus that came out.
The neighborhood,
the animated one, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, that is an amazing place to see that year one Spider-Man stuff. Anyway, they went through that arc of those 3 movies and Avenger tie-ins, and where it ended was him like, my parents are dead. Great power comes great responsibility. I don't have this billion-dollar company to rely on, but it's still important that I do the right thing and I protect my neighborhood and I'm Spider-Man. And so if that's where this is going, I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah, we had talked before when the Tom Holland movies were newer about how different it was that there wasn't, Spider-Man canon is him paying an ultimate price at some point, not himself, but like through Uncle Ben, having to lose so much so quickly while he's also figuring out who he is as Spider-Man and those struggles. How do I struggle to live? How do I make money so that I can help Aunt May continue to live? And we see that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is about all that, right? Like setting up his own camera as a person selling pictures of Spider-Man. Like they go through these kinds of things in different iterations, but the Tom Holland until the last movie didn't have a price to pay. He had the girlfriend and the best friend and, until, Iron Man, until the character died, and even after he died, he had Happy and the tie-in still to all that Stark Industries money, and he still had all the things. And so for them to end it with him losing everything, and then I thought that would be the end of it. So the fact that they're coming out with this one, I think you're right. It's now he's got to figure out who he is without having the safety nets, without having Aunt May, and without having Happy, and without having the girlfriend and MJ. And
I hope that's how it goes, because we always jokingly say, like, when you do like the poll, like, oh, who's the greatest Spider-Man villain? And traditionally the greatest Spider-Man villain is poverty. Like he has like everything. He's
or
like
himself.
Always constantly like, I gotta make money for this. I gotta, I gotta go on a date with Mary Jane and I'm broke. I gotta take this extra job so I can afford a bicycle so I can get across town to do this and that and help Aunt May with the bills, and all that kind of stuff is always something that's existed in Spider-Man. So it looks like that's what they were leading up to with this transition, although this will happen after Avengers Doomsday, and who knows what kind of craziness is going to get reset and stuff with that. But yeah, I'm excited to see another Spider-Man.
So many nerd things going out right now in 2026. Nerds, what did we miss? What are you looking forward to? Find us social media or podcast at nerdbestfriends.com. What did we miss? Get nerdy with us. All right, Rob, we're back at it for another week. What is the nerdiest thing you did this week?
All right, I know I'm a broken record, but 3D printing has never been better in the Cooper house.
Your new fancy machine.
My new printer, Analese, my newest 3D print thing is modular storage solutions.
Yes, please bring it on. Bring it on.
I don't know how we're going to do this as a audio podcast, but what I am printing is little drawers, boxes, organizers, self-contained things. Like I mentioned the Space Weirdos game that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to reprint all the tokens and all the everything and like making a little storage box.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Rob's holding up a box that has a handle at the top and it's got a bunch of knobs. So I'm imagining you pull one of those knobs and a drawer comes out.
So yeah, that's a drawer. These are all drawers, right?
Okay.
And they're all like inside the drawer, of course, they're all organized with all the little 3D printed tokens and
things that you need to play. Okay.
They've got little locks so the drawers don't come out. But if I take out these locks, the other thing it does is when you put it on the table, it expands.
Okay. So the things on
I
the
don't
side,
know how to describe it.
It's like a makeup kit. It's like
a
makeup kit that opens up.
It's like
a
caboodle, right?
Yes.
It's like a caboodle that you can open up and it's got all of these games and stuff in it and all the like tokens and it's got dice and everything in it. Like I've got a drawer with all the dice that are ready to go and everything. Everything on here is 3D printed. The bolts for the everything. There's no glue. There's no nothing. It's all 3D printed goodness. Could I have gone to the Big Five Sporting Goods and bought a tackle box for $10? Sure. Did I definitely spend $50 on plastic to 3D print my own dumb caboodle? Also, yes, I definitely did that. And it just keeps getting bigger and worse.
Oh my gosh.
And better.
Okay, same idea, but bigger boxes. What game is that for?
This is for all of my one-page rules stuff. What I love about this one is it's got a very large bottom box.
The base is pretty big. Yeah, it looks like it could hold like an 8.5 by 11.
Like all your books and stuff.
Yes.
Fit in there. And so same kind of thing. This all opens up to like drawers and unfolds and everything, but it's huge and heavy. Again, completely 100% 3D printed.
Wow.
No glue, no extra hardware, screws or anything like that. It all comes together. That's incredible. So this one also
bonkers.
Unfolds and I've got all the
okay, so in this case when
there.
You open it, unfold it, the drawer below it is exposed open. Okay.
And it's got a ruler.
Wow.
And all this stuff.
Wow.
So
all 3D printed. Wow.
I would say if anybody is curious about it, you would look at, it's called Modi boxes is the stuff that I'm using, MODI, if you wanted to see like, what the heck is this? Because I know it's a podcast, so you can't really see it. I was just hopefully from the reaction of Analese to see these giant
look, we haven't recorded in a couple weeks because Jonah and I were at Girls Just Wanna, and then we both got sick coming back. So we in like 2 weeks since you last said, oh, look at these little tokens that I'm making that are multicolored. Now we have like modular boxes that are complete, and not just complete. They are filled with the things, which tells me you have used it in gameplay on your game table.
Yes, this is something
bonkers, dude.
This is something else. I remember I was like, oh, one of my nerd goals for this year is to like teach games. You better believe as soon as I had that game ready, it was like, oh, come on over. Let me teach you this cool Star Wars game that I just made.
And just everybody to have all set up in this
crazy
modular
3D
box.
printed modular system box.
I knew it. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. When you were talking about storage and stuff, I thought you were going to talk about like in the drawers in my kitchen. I've revamped it. No, you're talking about like with your nerd games. I love it. I love it. Congratulations.
Freestanding modular storage solutions with hinges and drawers and layers and levels. It's amazing.
If I had room in this nerd room, I'd almost ask you to make me one that I can do all of the base game stuff for Final Girl so that I don't have to open all of the boxes. Because that's essentially what happens. I get the core box out of the first one. I get the game mat out of the second one. And all of a sudden I'm opening 3 of these giant boxes to play the game. But it's not that big
You
of a
know,
deal.
we have the same problem with Marvel United. Like, we have all the expansions and we have a ton of other characters we want to play. And it's be like, you know, we'll get an idea of, oh, let's play this character, this character, this character from these different boxes. But no matter what we do, I always have to take the base
big
game
one.
out first to get all the tokens and everything. So yeah, if they were...
Oh yeah, and
I
the
guess there's no
tier
difference.
dice and the new the side neoprene mat that goes with the Series 2 mats is in the Series 3 box. Like, yeah, it's a thing. I'm speechless.
So
I don't
yes,
even know
I
what
am
to
having so much fun with the 3D printer. I can't even tell you how much plastic filament has been melted in this house over the last month. Annalise, what's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Well, talking about sounding like a broken record, I put, or earlier in this episode, I talked about how much I'm looking forward to Scream 7. And because it is going back into telling some of those original stories, we have started our rewatch of the first 6 films. So we're kind of watching.
All 6?
I've never taken notes on a Scream movie because I've watched them so many times, but like I'm writing in some things down so I can start thinking about like what part of the
That's
story
fun.
did they not tell here. So we started Scream 1, Scream 2. We got Scream 3 coming up next, but we're rewatching all 6 before going to see 7 in the theaters.
Well, that's fun to like be taking notes and like looking at it with a critical eye and
Nerding
that kind
out.
of thing. That's like that next level. I love that.
And there's definitely people who've done it. I can do a Google search and someone's created a whole like span of how it all connects back to Sydney and her family and stuff. But I kind of want to do that on my own without having someone else tell me. People have
Sure.
formulas out there like the person you see right after this is who the killer is, or the person who's wearing plaid is usually innocent. Like there's people who have conspiracy theories about all 6 films. And those are fun to
Interesting.
watch. But,
Okay.
I don't want to get too deep down that rabbit hole because I want to be purely surprised at what they do with the story here.
Although with all that stuff being so prominent, then you have to ask yourself the question, do they stick to that formula so the fans can be like, see, or do they completely change it on its head and keep putting things out there of like, oh, here's the second person, here's a person wearing
Here's a
plaid,
person
and they're
in
different
plaid.
people.
Yep.
And they're,
I could see Kevin Williamson doing that for sure, but
that'd be fun.
time will tell.
Well, you'll
A few
have
weeks
to let
away.
us know. On the next Nerd Best Friends, it's another top 5 list. This time, our favorite fight scenes in pop culture. Before you go, join us. Hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Please drop us a 5-star rating and help more nerds find their people. Find us on social at Nerd Best Friends or email the podcast. Let's grow the nerd herd, spread the geeky joy, and we'll see you next time.
Always a good time nerding out with you, best friend. I'm looking forward to all these things. I'm looking forward to seeing more things that you print with your 3D printer as you're also playing your games at home.
I appreciate that. Yes, maybe we'll start seeing like the background in studio change as my entire life becomes built out of 3D plastic.
Who buys homes? I 3D printed my home.
I would totally live in a 3D printed house. Have you seen the ones where they 3D print them with the concrete
Yes.
and stuff? Like out in Arizona, people say they're like completely soundproof. The insulation is great. They're super fast and cheap. I would absolutely
Until it
live
melts
in a
in the
3D
sun.
printed house. No, it's made of concrete.
Yeah, all right.
Like instead of
All
like,
right.
imagine like the little extruder that like poops out the plastic on your 3D printer. It's
Oh,
like
it
this
does,
giant
like,
crane that poops out like fast drying concrete to like make the houses and stuff. It's wild. And then they
That
like
is wild.
stop and people come and they put all the pipes and electrical things in and then it like starts again and prints around it and everything. They're amazing.
That's crazy. We're going to have to go check that out. All right, nerds, next week, fight scenes. Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro.